Hello everyone. This policy is the logical access control policy. That means the IT access control policy. The same policy has been defined as to what roles and responsibility is assigned to its working and non-working employee of your company, and also how much access that the company has provided to the outsiders, vendors, and also be your working non-employee staff. After introduction about the logical access control policy, we are now moving to the first and main important thing of our policy is the purpose and the scope of this policy. As you can see in a first point mainly describing the purpose of this policy, that means all the logical access you have in your company, for example whether it's a server or a PC, everyone should have a one circular framework. That means all your logical access will be controlled by its some particular rules and the regulations. Each of that points will see in the extra detail, but for now purpose is describing is that much of point. As I already discussed earlier that this policy is applicable to each and every working or non-working employee of your company. That means each of every vendor also, and the employees which are on their training periods. Whatever management team in your company or any management members who manage every details of your organization, they will have the responsibility to maintain the framework of your organization network. So now moving to the next point is the access control. That means as you can see the slide has been discussed as how much access your company has to give your staff or how much access that they should actually have. That means as the employee of that company how much access they should have, it will get decided on the base of their jobs, that means base of their roles and their responsibility about their company. As you can see the first point in this slide, as all users should have controlled access, that means read, write, modify, execute, full control to the information processing system in accordance with the user's function rules and the information security requirements. However, your working staff should have full access to your information processing system. That means read, write, modify and also be execute the file. But sometimes what happens in that some limited access company gives the employees according to their job role base. Example like that if you are training person, the company not give you the full access of your system, they only give that much of read only permission due to the some security reasons. Company did not give you the access even write, modify or execute the particular file. Moving to the next point, as that you can see here all contract based employees will have their own unique employee ID which are accessible only up to their contract, and when their contract is completed their ID should be automatically deactivated, and all these should be reviewed at every particular time and also keep that maintain data. The responsibility of that reviews and maintaining of the data is totally on the particular team member and also be the designated officer if they assign for it. And the last point is talking about the audit logs. That means whatever the information processing system that you have, that all are configured in a proper format. It's more necessary to have a time to time audit of their logs after configuring them in a proper format. This is about the only access control. But now moving to the next point, we are specially talking about the user IDs. That means you can see the point of the user ID can be manually described. But one thing you have to keep in mind that you understand some formal rules, regulations and criteria before start to create some user ID. Every employee has its own separate and the own unique user ID at the base of their job roles. User ID should have a one proper standard format, and on the base of that one standard format all the IDs should all be generated. The main important thing regarding to the ID is that they can't be shared to any of them, so that they can have the chances of having the misuse. So each and every ID will have its own separate password, but it's not allowed to share with any of the other person. In short, the main point is that no one can share any of their user ID and any of their password to anybody, because this is a personal and unique for every individual person. So up till now we are talking about the how we create or how we generate the user ID. But now moving to the next point is the anonymous user ID, that means the guest naming user ID will not allowed. No other will use a guest naming user ID, because it will create confusion sometime while operating or while auditing process also. It sometimes be confusing or not even understand that actually whom going to accessing this ID. And also common user ID multiple employees can't be accessed, because it's very wrong to accessing multiple employees a single common user ID and the single common password. Single employee should have a single user ID, and by chance sometimes there is a situation where the common user ID has to use. For that the employee has to take permission his reporting manager. Until the permission of the manager is received or they are not allowed, then no common user ID can be used. The next point is explaining something about the different. That means it says that if any ID is more than 60 days inactive or it is not in use, then it should be automatically deactivated. This is about the user ID. And now moving to the next slide, we are moving to the next point as the privilege management. As you can see in the slide, the first point is basically the all privileges to the users should be assigned through a formal access provision procedure. That means in your company to which privileges you are giving to whom, for that also have one privilege procedure. Employees should be given privileges of a particular system or a particular thing on the basis of their job roles only. Now with the next point is that when the reporting request is not received by the reporting manager of particular employee, then the designated officer does not give any privileges to anyone. On the reporting manager's request only, he or her staff will receive the privileges on his job role base. The third point is that privileges that are temporarily granted should be authorized and tracked. Such privileges should be revoked as soon as they are deemed not in required. That means if someone in your office and company is being given privileges on a temporary basis, then it is very important to keep in mind that whatever you have on temporary basis, you should have access to that particular moment and it should be automatically revoked after you are done. And as much as it is very important to make a track record of all of these temporary access privileges, we call them also as a tracker or also be a recorder. The tracker should be maintained properly and it should always be in up to date format, and it will be responsibility of that particular designated officer to keep that tracker always be up to date. The details of all the privileges, that means how many privileges have been given to whom and what time, it is very important to have a designated officer. As we already discussed about the access rights, and now we are moving to the next point is that the review of that access rights. In this slide you can see the one main important thing has been discussed, that whatever designated officer of your company will review the access rights of all the users in your company at least once in a year with their management team. Which employee has been given to what access, do they really need use access to their work even after further, or They also need access to any other network just because of the official work. All of this is more important to have a review at least once in a year. And also, you will review access logs, security logs at least once in a 6 months with your management team. And on the basis of that reviews, any reports, documents or the files has been generated, that will go to the senior officer and also be review of there also, and then only take further action if any want, whether really needs to be give any more access to anyone. As we already discussed in first point is about all privileges account should have reviews of the minimum one time in a every 6 months in a company, and whatever changes are to be done which are saved in something protected file or any protected place, when there is a review of the next time, then we can know that what kinds of changes we have performed in last time. After reviewing to the access rights, we are moving towards the network access controls. As you can see, there are so many images in this slide, and also be the VPN connectivity images also. So in the first point, and also be in the first point, as you can see describing, whenever you are remotely accessing for any purpose, do it with the double surety and the double security. That means if you want to make VPN connectivity, then you will need cryptographic controls or any two vector authentication at any basis, because the system should be checked first whenever you are access remotely, that whatever is accessing the person will not have any harm for their confidential data of your network. Whenever we use VPN connectivity, that time we always be ensured that everything is implemented correctly. You have to take care of one thing is that whatever publicly connected system you are using is not connected with your internal office, because to do this the chances of data are much more. So the next point is that you have so many systems, services and the users, those networks should be segregated. No data of any system can be mixed with any different service, or there can be no data loss also. The risk level of every system is different. So we should categorize all the system and all the services that are available on according to that. So no problem related to the data maintenance should occur. With the next point, here you can see you should have your control on all your segregated networks. It is also more important to maintain you like this. Whatever is the services of your all the network, it should always be time to time monitored. On what time which services are going on, you have to take care of that. You want to keep that in one thing, always be remember. And also last important thing is you have to install proxy filtering system in all the office system. So because of that, none other any employees and staff will be able to access any social media sites. So here with the last slide we are mentioning the last point in that the measures for application authentication security. As you can see in the first point describing is any application such as IBT, SWST like that is connected through your network, then this should always be password protected because it contains your critical and sensitive data. They always have the chances of being misused due to the network being connected, so always keep the password protected. Assigning a strong password to that on the basis of your company's password policy that is not accessible to anyone. The third point is talking about the password policy. That means it happens very often that we all can save all our passwords in a plain text, so it's very easy to read it anyone. So always keep in mind that whatever password you have, always keep it in such a format so that it is not accessible to any third party. It is one format of that is the cryptographic format. By doing this, no one will know about what is your password actual. So try to save your password in a cryptographic format, so just because of the security purpose. The next point is talking about the office application. If your office application is installed on your tablet, smartphone, or any mobile devices, so you should keep in mind that you also need to keep the original multi-factor authentication for your phone, because anyone having that phone, at least your data will always be safe. If your login is on multiple time, it means that someone is trying to access your account. So if your login fail a few more times, then that account automatically set locked. This will keep your account locked until you can access it personally. This is talking about our fifth point. The next point basically describing as a password set timing. Password change should be done after the interval of the 60 days. Such a minimum point is mentioned. No employee will keep his or her own password same for more than 60 days. There are as many login attempts happen on your system, whether successful or failed. The history of each and every log one should be maintained with you, because we could find some solution on that fail attempts. The last point is talking about the new idea about the logging attempt. That means you can also have an option like CAPTCHA during your login. These service, or also we can say that this is an option similar to as a multi-factor authentication. These option to work safely while logging on any system from any brute force attack and any enumeration attacks which are happened during the login time. So here all about the our IT access control policy. I hope each and everyone should understand it very well. So thank you so much.